Hi, I'm Vicki Hoth from Handi Quilter, and with me today is Richard Eich. He is the Director of Quality. And Richard teaches when we have retreats and we have retailer training how to install a simulator for our Pro Stitcher. And so I thought, what better to invite Richard to do this today, because I would probably goof and you do it so well. So Richard, why don't you go ahead? No pressure.
To install this simulator, it's really just installing the same Pro Stitcher program that you put on your Pro Stitcher machine onto a desktop computer. It does have to be a Windows computer, and it should work in Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 10. We're going to demonstrate it today on a Windows 10 laptop. But one of the first things I want to mention is that as part of this installation procedure, we're going to be licensing the use of the Pro Stitcher software to a specific computer. And in that process, if there are any other SD cards or USB sticks, it will try to save a license file potentially to the wrong memory device. So the first thing we want to make sure of is on your computer that you're wanting to install this simulator version onto, we want to make sure there's no SD cards plugged into it that we weren't aware of, or other USB devices or external hard drives.
So we have one.
We do have one. This is the USB stick that we're going to use to license the simulation version. And a way to check for that is we can go in to the Windows File Explorer and just make sure, let me go here, that under devices and drives, we don't see any extra devices or memory devices here. So we would expect a CD drive or DVD drive. We also have our hard drive, the C drive, and only one USB stick, and that's my E drive. So that's the one that I'm going to be using for this demonstration. So we just want to make sure there's nothing extra plugged in.
So a quick way for all customers to go to Windows File Explorer is 2 buttons.
There is a shortcut to that. If you press the Windows key on your keyboard, it's the one between Control and Alternate, looks like a little Windows icon. Press and hold that and the letter E, it will automatically open File Explorer.
For everyone, so if they can't figure that out, that's an easy way to get there.
Yeah, another way to get to it is most desktop or laptop computers will have this little file icon at the bottom of the screen, and that will open up. You'll just want to make sure you go over to this PC is what Windows tends to call it these days, and that will list your drives that are attached.
Okay, good.
Okay, so we've established that we only have one USB stick plugged in. The next thing we want to do is go to the Handi Quilter website and download the latest version of Pro Stitcher. So I'm going to go into my internet browser here. I've already gone to handiquilter.com, and I'm going to hover over the Downloads tab up at the top and go to HQ Pro Stitcher Software Update. I'm going to click on that, and that will take me to the download page for the Pro Stitcher updates. Now you'll notice there are a couple of versions here depending on the type of Pro Stitcher tablet you have. Well, we're putting this on a desktop computer, which is a little different than a Pro Stitcher tablet. So the version we want to use for the simulation right now is going to be this version 16.01.0092. So it's the version on the left side. So I'm going to click on that, and it'll take me to a page asking me to download this file. So I'm going to download it. Click on download, and it's going to start downloading my file. And then when it's done, usually when I'm updating Pro Stitcher, I would download this file, copy it to a USB stick, and take it to my Pro Stitcher and install the update on the Pro Stitcher. Well, we're going to install this update on this computer itself. So when it's done, I can't just click on Open. I'm going to click on Open Folder because there's one little nuance here that we have to be aware of. So it's telling me that it's in my Downloads folder here. Usually Windows will put it into a Downloads folder in case you can't find where it saved it. So if you go under this PC on the left side, then you should find, well, actually up to the top. Usually you'll have a Downloads link up there. So anyway, I'm in my Downloads folder. I've got this zipped file. I'm going to have to unzip it. So I right-click on that, and I'm going to go to Extract All and left click on that. And I'm just going to use the default that it gives me here and say Extract.
So the default is where it's going to go ahead and put it because it thinks it knows the best thing, right?
It thinks it does, and we'll assume it does.
Okay.
So we are now in that extracted folder, and we have this file called psupdate.16.01.0092H. So I'm going to right-click on that and choose Run as Administrator. I don't want to just double-click on this because it has to be run under administrator privileges. So one thing you'll have to make sure of on your computer is that you do have administrator privileges on there. If you're not set up as an administrator, it will not install properly. So if you have questions about whether you're administrator or not, you can try this, and if it doesn't work, then you may want to talk with whoever set up your computer about how to get those administrator rights. We won't go into that in this video. So I'm clicking on Run as Administrator, and this will start installing the Pro Stitcher. First of all, Windows says, are you sure you want to make these changes? And we're going to say yes by left-clicking the yes button. And if you've ever installed a Pro Stitcher update, this new screen here will look familiar. So it's asking if we want to update to this version that we have. Now this particular computer has had a version of the simulation software on it before, and that was version 92. And so it's saying the installed version is 92, then do we want to go to the new version of 92? We're just going to say start at this point. And then press confirm if you're ready to install the update. We are, so we'll click on confirm, and then it will start to update. Okay, and I'm going to click on close when that's done.
So the thing that's different here is if we were putting this on our Pro Stitcher on our machine, it would ask us to make sure that we had the right machine indicated. But on here, we don't have that?
No, I don't believe so. It won't ask you which version of the machine.
Because I noticed you went ahead and did that, and there was no, it didn't
Correct.
ask. So it doesn't matter which machine we have.
No, it will.
Okay.
The simulation version is independent of the type of
Okay.
Pro Stitcher machine. So I get this message saying Pro Stitcher can only run in simulation mode. Do you want to set it up now? Requires a fully configured Pro Stitcher. So in order to install this, I have to have a Pro Stitcher nearby that I can license it from. So at this point, I'm going to say yes. Let's move forward. And then it says insert a USB, your USB drive into the Pro Stitcher tablet. And then we'll go to the settings over there, advanced, general, and create a simulation license. And then click OK. So at this point, I will unplug my USB stick from this computer, and we'll move over to the Pro Stitcher tablet, and we'll show you where to go from there.
All right, let's
But
do that.
do not click OK at this point until you've done
Okay.
this next step. Okay.
Okay, we're now at the machine. Now what do we do, Richard?
So we have this USB stick that we just unplugged from our laptop, where we installed the first part of the Pro Stitcher simulation software. Now I'm going to plug this into my actual Pro Stitcher. So I'm looking here at my Pro Stitcher, and I see I already have another USB stick in here, probably with some designs that I've been using. I want to make sure I unplug that first. So I'm going to disconnect that.
All right, I'll hold that.
Hand it to my assistant here.
Thank you.
And I'm going to plug this one into the USB port on my Pro Stitcher.
So either one, there's two ports. It doesn't matter which one.
Doesn't matter which one. So once I plug that in, I'm going to give that a second to finish connecting to the machine. And then what I want to do is go under Settings and Advanced. And as long as my General tab is highlighted, I will see a button down at the bottom left that says Create Simulation License. So I'm going to tap on Create Simulation License, and I must have done something right because I got a message saying license file written.
So that means that it is on the USB.
That
if
means
it
it
wasn't,
worked.
we'd go back and...
Exactly. So what happened in this process is in the first step we created a key based on the computer we were using. And that key file was saved to that USB stick. We brought the USB stick to the Pro Stitcher computer. The Pro Stitcher computer then generates a license file based on that key. So that key file has to be on that USB stick or this step will fail. So if you get a message saying that, that this step failed or there was no key file found, then you'll need to go back to your computer and make sure there's no SD cards. I know Microsoft Surface tablets all tend to have a SD card hidden in them. A lot of other tablets and things will have them where they're hard to find. So double check, make sure any other SD card or USB stick is removed, and then start the installer again so that it will get to the point where it saves the key file to your USB stick, and then try this once more.
So the reason I think we're doing this, that anyone can can download our Pro Stitcher version and put it on a computer, but it has to have the key from an actual Pro Stitcher to make it work on a computer. That's why this is so important.
The intent is so that you as a Pro Stitcher owner can have the simulation software to be able to work aside from the Pro Stitcher computer, do some practice on your own, do some design work without having to be right at the Pro Stitcher. So we want to make sure that you already have access to a Pro Stitcher. Whether you've purchased one or you work in a shop that has one, that's perfectly fine to use a computer and create a license with that
And
Pro
it doesn't
Stitcher.
matter which Pro Stitcher. So if I have, in my studio, I have 20 Pro Stitchers, I can use any one of those Pro Stitchers to get that key generated.
Exactly. But once you generate that key and create the license file, that license file will only be good on the computer that you generated the key file from. You won't be able to transfer it to other computers. You'll have to start the process over again on another computer. So I'm going to say OK on this message because it's telling me to return the USB drive to a source computer and follow the instructions. But before I do that, one thing about the simulation version is it does not copy all of the design files. Those design files are very proprietary to Handi Quilter. We want to make sure we're not just giving them out to everybody. So what you'll need to do at this point is take the design files from your Pro Stitcher, copy them to your USB stick, and then we'll put them back on the computer we're using the simulation version on. That way you've got some designs to work from. So I'll show you a quick way to do that. This gray bar at the top left, I'm going to tap on that. Okay, and I'll get a keyboard. So again, as we mentioned before, in order to open up an Explorer window, which is what I want to do so I can find the files, the design files, and copy them to my USB stick, is I'm going to press the Windows key, and that turns white, and then I'm going to press the letter E. And that opens up this Explorer window. I'm going to hide the keyboard now, close that. And then I'm going to go into my C drive.
So you double tapped on that?
Double tap on the C drive.
With your finger, okay.
Yes, and one of the first folders says Designs. That is my folder with all my designs for Pro Stitcher. So I just want to copy that and put it into my D drive. You see on the left, there's a D drive, that's my USB stick. So there's a couple ways of doing that. I can touch and drag it over to the D drive, or I can touch it and copy and then paste. We'll just do that. I touched it so it has a check mark by it now. I'm going to click copy up at the top left, and then I'm going to open up the D drive, and then I'm just going to click paste at the top left, and it's going to start copying those files. Now this will take a while because there are, as you notice here, 1,729 items in that designs folder. So that will take a couple of minutes. Any jokes you wanted to tell while we're waiting?
No. So every computer or every customer receives their USB stick with those designs on it. Can they take those designs that are on their USB stick rather than doing this process and just put it into their computer and use it from there?
That is a great question. Yes, you can. If the only designs you want to transfer over are the ones that originally came with Pro Stitcher, then they will already be on your USB stick that came with your Pro Stitcher. However, if you're like most people, you've probably created some of your own designs or bought some from other people and saved them onto your Pro Stitcher, or maybe you have created some layouts that you want to make sure you copy over as well. So you may want to just copy everything over anyway, just to make sure you capture any work you've done. Okay, so it looks like it finished copying. I am going to just close out this window here by pressing the red X, and I'll just unplug my USB stick.
So we're done here.
We're done at the Pro Stitcher.
Now we're ready to go back to our computer and do the rest of the process, right?
Correct.
Okay. All right, we're back at the computer. We still have that box up we haven't checked the OK yet. What's next?
Well, now we take our USB stick and we're going to plug it into our tablet, or our laptop in this case.
Which we could have done a tablet. If someone wants to, they could put this on a tablet.
You certainly could. Any Windows tablet or computer would be perfectly fine. We are now going to give it just a moment to register that the USB stick's plugged in, and then we're going to click on the OK button on this message box. And simulation setup failed. Call technical support.
Oh my goodness. Oh my
What should we do? So what I'm going to do is check to see if this USB stick has my license file on it. So I'm going to go into this PC and go into my devices and drives. I see my USB stick here, and I'm going to open that up. And I do see that license file. I think what happened at this point is I clicked on OK before it fully set up my USB stick.
Oh, so just give it some time. Be patient.
So yes, so I think
go get a drink.
what
Come
I
back.
will have to do now is go back to my downloads folder and restart the installer, which is now in this folder, the version 92 update. And then we're going to start this again after I close out this message here. Okay, so I'm going to right click once again, choose Run as Administrator.
It's a good thing for us to know. I'm glad
And-
that you had this mistake happen.
And I thought I was perfect. So I'm going to click Yes.
You are.
Okay, we're going to start this again and confirm. Go through these steps one more time.
Now, do we have to go back and get the key again?
The key is already there and the license file is already there. So at this point, it already found my license file and it set it up. And so you'll notice ProStitcher started, so it is licensed and it's ready to go.
Okay, so do I have to push that simulator button to
All
work
right.
it in simulator?
Good question. We're going to talk about a couple of the simulation features here. You'll notice at the bottom left corner, first of all, that this says simulation mode. So instead of Avante or Fusion or Infinity, it tells you this is a simulation mode version. So I can go into my designs, I can bring up files, designs that I've copied over, which, by the way, we saved those to our USB stick, but I haven't yet copied them over to my hard drive. We can certainly do that, or I can just open them right off of my USB stick.
Just like we would on our ProStitcher.
Exactly, exactly. So let's just do that real quick. I'll click on Open,
So the bottom
and I'll
drive
go to
there.
my E drive. That's where my Designs folder is now. And I'm just going to choose, boy, what files should I choose?
Let's do one of those
Vicki?
HQ design files.
Where are they? There they are. So the little arrow indicates that there's more folders under it. We'll just open a block and pull up, what do we want? Block 17?
All right.
Beautiful. Okay, so we can load a design just as if we were on ProStitcher. Right now my pan button is highlighted, so I'm using my mouse to move my cursor around the screen. If I want to shift left and right, this is going to pan my screen because that's the button that's highlighted. If I wanted to zoom, I would highlight the zoom button, and then clicking and dragging up and down is going to zoom in and out. Now the simulation button is going to allow me to simulate moving the
Crosshairs?
moving my quilting machine around. So now simulation is highlighted, and you'll notice my crosshairs will move wherever I drag my cursor. So this
Either with
is,
your mouse or on the pad there, or you
or
can
I can
use your
my
arrow
arrows,
keys and
I-
do that same
if
thing.
I hold Shift and my
Oh, it goes a
arrows,
lot
then it'll go a lot faster.
Which is always good.
Okay, so that's how I can simulate moving the machine around.
And
because-
create in an area.
Exactly. In order to create an area, I have to move my machine around in order to mark those points, right? So if I wanted to mark an area, click on the Area tab over here, and let's just do a multi-point area. And then I'm going to drag my crosshairs as if I'm moving my machine, mark another point, move it over here, mark another point, move my crosshairs here.
Oh, you just
And I
two-corner.
just hit the wrong button, but you
That's
get the
okay.
idea.
That's okay.
Let me create another area real
Shouldn't
quick.
be laughing at him, should I?
Yeah,
Because we
thanks,
do
Vicki.
this same thing.
Okay, so there's my area.
He
And then if
cleared
I
it out
wanted
and
to
started over.
skew that to that funny looking area, I can do that just as if I had my had it on my Pro Stitcher. Okay.
So you can create that, then you can go ahead and save it on your USB stick, take it back over, create an area. You know, there's so many things you can do sitting down, even learning, you know, for our quilters, that they can go to classes and they can have this on their laptop or on a tablet, and they can take it with them and learn from there. So it's a great feature that we have. Now, there was one thing we needed to go back to the machine because we have something else to teach, right?
We do. There may be a time you want to use your Pro Stitcher tablet as your simulation tablet, and we're going to show you how to do that.
Okay, we're back at the Pro Stitcher because you have some things to talk about here again.
I do. There may be a point where you want to use your Pro Stitcher tablet as your simulation tablet. So you may want to take it off the Pro Stitcher, maybe go to a class, learn some things on it, and bring it back to your Pro Stitcher. There's a quick and easy way of doing that, and I just wanted to show you that here. What we would do is we would go into our settings again, under Advanced, which is still highlighted, and General, and you'll notice the buttons on the right-hand side there's a Simulation On-Off button. So if I press that Simulation On-Off, it tells me to restart, and it says changing simulation requires a restart to take effect. So what I would do at this
Why?
point,
Why?
it's just the way the software is. And when
Okay.
it comes back up, it's going to be in simulation mode, not in the fusion mode. So it's going to come up
So what
as-
it does is it takes away the motors and gives you,
Yeah. Normally the Pro Stitcher software is looking for the Pro Stitcher to be connected to it. And if it's not connected, it won't finish booting up. So what we're doing is we're just telling it, don't look for the Pro Stitcher motors. We're running in simulation mode, but we still want to be able to do everything
explanation.
in the
Thank you.
software. All right,
Thank
how
you.
about that?
yes.
So what we would do here is just do a restart. And click on
reboot.
reboot, go to shutdown and reboot, and tells me it's restarting. And then what I could do at that point is remove this from my tablet, which, by the way, from my bracket. To do that is lift a little bit on that bracket and slide that tablet out. Disconnect your cables, obviously.
Now we have an extra cable here, and that is for our filming. So don't be alarmed that we have this candy striped cable here. It's just so that we can give you what we have here.
Exactly. Okay, so this is booting back up. Sometimes Windows likes to hesitate in this start screen, so we're just going to click on desktop, and that should come back up here. Okay, so the Pro Stitcher has finished rebooting, and you'll notice the bottom left corner says simulation mode, and just as we described on the laptop or on your tablet, you have your simulation button, everything just as if it was another computer. So now I could take this aside, go to a class, and use it in order to learn all the features of Pro Stitcher without having to have it connected to my Pro Stitcher carriage and the quilting machine.
So because it's a touch screen, I don't need anything but my finger. I need to press the simulation, right?
Correct.
And then with my finger, I can just move that over wherever I need it, press my area multi-point or...
Right, so that would be simulating the motion of your quilting machine.
Okay, so then when I want to take it back and put it on and plug it back in, I just need to do that, or do I need to turn off that simulation button?
We need to turn off the simulation button. So we'll go back into settings when we're ready to bring it back to the Pro Stitcher, or to the quilting machine here. And we're going to go into Advanced, and under General, the simulation button is now darkened, meaning it's active, so we're going to turn it off now.
And then that takes away that simulation button that's on the front screen, on the main screen.
Correct. And it wants me to restart again.
Okay.
So it doesn't take effect. I can't just start using Pro Stitcher now until I do a reboot.
Oh, okay.
So I'll go back to shutdown,
Reboot again, and then it comes up and finds the motors, and we're ready to go again.
Exactly.
Okay, now we're going to take you back to the computer again so that we can learn some more things about using the simulator on the computer. All right, now we're back here because you had something else you needed to talk about. So,
One thing I want everybody to be aware of is when you install the Pro Stitcher simulation version on a laptop or desktop computer, there's one key thing you need to be aware of, and that's in the shutdown process. The Pro Stitcher software doesn't differentiate a whole lot between a Pro Stitcher and a regular computer. So if I go under shutdown, normally with the Pro Stitcher I would just click on the shutdown button to turn everything off and be done for the day. However, when you're on your desktop or your laptop, you may just want to close out the program. So the thing you want to remember to do is just choose Exit to Windows. If you choose the shutdown button, that is tied into the Windows shutdown function, and it will shut down your computer. So you may have something else you didn't really want to lose, and you'd lose it at that point. So we don't want to do that. We just want to click on Exit to Windows in order to get out of the simulator.
okay. Great. Thank you, Richard. You are such a wealth of knowledge, and I love having you teach me all the time, and thank you for teaching our quilters. So, till next time, happy quilting.